check. Hollow test. Hollow test. Check. Hollow.
बेस बढ़ाई.
Hollow test. Check.
हल्का सा वोकल्स.
Hollow check. Test.
Would you like to have a cup of tea or coffee?
बात करूं वहां से बाहर से बात करो एक बार. ये सत्या इसका आवाज हमारा लेकिन ऑफ माइक चेक करो एक बार. आवाज चेक करो. हेलो चेक. हेलो चेक. हेलो चेक. हेलो चेक. आ रहा है? कितने आ रहा है आवाज? लगे? हेलो. हेलो.
आ रहा है. आवाज आ रहा है. हेलो माइक टेस्ट. हेलो चेक. हेलो माइक टेस्टिंग. हेलो चेक.
आ रहा है. ओके.
Recording in progress.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The meeting is now called to order. I am asking Dhanashri to do an invocation song, and we will simultaneously do the lighting of the lamp.
Yes. वक्रतुण्ड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देवो सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। गणेशं गिरिजापुत्रम् आदिमध्यान्त व्यापकम् धुण्डिराजं स्वयं शुद्धं तं गणेशं भजाम्यहम्। एक छोटी सी प्रार्थना मैं आपको सुनाना चाहूँगी, एंड इफ यू नो दिस सॉन्ग प्लीज सिंग अलोंग। वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहीजे, पीड़ पराई जाने ने, पर दुखे उपकार करे तोय, पर दुखे उपकार करे तोय, मन अभिमान नाणे रे। वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहीजे, सकल लोकमा सहुने वंदे, निंदा न करे केनी रे। वाच काच मन निश्चल रा वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहीजे, पीड़ पराई जाने रे। पर दुखे उपकार करे तोय, पर दुखे उपकार करे तोय, मन अभिमान ना जाने रे। वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहीजे, वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहीजे, वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहीजे।
Thank you, Dhanashri, for that very mellifluous rendition of this invocation song and the prayer. On behalf of everyone at the CFBP and the awards committee, I welcome you all. My name is Vineet Bhatnagar and I'm the chairperson for the awards committee. To begin the session today, I request the president of CFBP, Mr. Swapnil Kothari, to give his welcome address.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Distinguished Mr. Keki Mistry, chief guest on our dais, and our advisory board member. Advisory board member, Mr. Justice B.N. Sri Krishna, the chairman of the jury. My vice president, Mr. Vineet Bhatnagar. Founder member, Mr. Shekhar Bajaj. Advisory board member and the chairman of our wellness committee, Mr. Miki Mehta. My treasurer, Mr. Anand Patwardhan, and all the esteemed members of my audience. Jamnalal Bajaj Awards is one of the flagship programs of CFBP. It's in its 35th year. And before that, let me tell you, I never prepare my speeches, so if I make a mistake, please pardon me. It's in its 35th year. We've seen a great turnout. It's been an extensive jury session, which I believe most of the winners will endorse. And we were very proud to select all the winners. The winners are there in the winners booklet that we have, and I suggest that each of you must be having it. And we go through a rigorous process. It includes diversity and inclusion, employee motivation, consumer satisfaction, and many other criteria, which I believe Vineet will touch upon when he starts announcing the awards. So I don't want to get into that space. As Mr. Bajaj told some of you during our tea meet, that Council for Fair Business Practices was started in 1966 by Mr. J.R.D. Tata, Mr. Soli Godrej, Mr. Ramkrishna Bajaj, Mr. Birla, Mr. Gazdar, Mr. Khorakiwala, all the top tycoons at that time, including the top professionals. So there were 36 founders in all. So today, all I can say is that I carry forward, or I'm trying to carry forward, the legacy of those 36 founders and my previous 23 presidents, the likes of whom have seen Naval Tata, Mr. Narialwala, and of course the first president of CFBP, Mr. Arvind Mafatlal. It's been a very, very august legacy. And also Mr. Harish Mahendra, who was 3 terms consecutive president from 1977 to Mr. 1983. And I'm following a suit from 2018 to 2024. So I believe as long as I have the love of the people and the faith of my team, I shall continue. And it's been a great journey. It's been a great privilege for me to lead this organization and to try to see in many forms its rebirth. Because I believe that there has to be a continuous process of ethics, of fair business practices, of idealizing institutions and institutionalizing ideals. The day we fall short of that, it's going to be spelling nothing short of a debacle for any of the institutions. All the people who have won today have demonstrated and exemplified fair business practices. So I'm very glad that today we have an august gallery of winners. As I was pointing out, that what was the hallmark of these great presidents and also the founders? Was it just their stature? I don't think so. The stature is not built just like that because you're born with a silver spoon or a golden spoon in your mouth. You have to continue working on that stature. And the three hallmarks of that are integrity, perseverance, and hard work. To just give you an example, Mr. P.A. Narelwala, one of the top tycoons of Tata Sons, used to go on picnics at that time with Mr. Jamsetji Tata. And they were discussing about a particular plant and a factory to be set up and outsourcing an electric company to supply power and electricity. And Sir Jamsetji Tata at that time said to Mr. Narelwala and to the rest of the people who were there at the picnic, because that is how the Tatas bonded with each other, or one of the ways that I would say, that, let's have our own electric company. And everybody kind of scoffed it off and said, were very extremely dismissive of it and said that I don't think, they didn't say that, of course, to Mr. Jamsetji Tata, but they were sort of not very endorsing about that. And Mr. Jamsetji Tata pursued that with a certain amount of doggedness, and that laid the seeds for the Tata Electric Company. So you can imagine that, as they say that every truth begins as a heresy. So the moment, and, I do not tend to equate myself with the likes of them, but let me tell you something, I have a little bit of that characteristic in me. The moment a person tells me no, so I'm the first person to jump at it and try to do something that why was it said no, I don't hear that word at all. To me, I don't believe in that. I believe in positivity, I believe in pursuing a goal, and I will pursue it no matter what, no matter the opposition, to ensure. And fortunately, let me say that so that people don't misunderstand it, I've got a great amount of support from my entire team. Great amount of support. First of all, let me tell you, the person who made me the president, Mr. Shekhar Bajaj, he, Mr. Niranjan Jhunjhunwala, who's my secretary, who's not here at the moment, these two have been participating in every single administrative committee decision that I've taken. Mr. Vineet Bhatnagar, on several phone calls that I make to him at times, because people don't, sometimes people are busy, they don't tend to respond on WhatsApp or emails and things like that. And so does Anand Patwardhan also, who forms a part of our administrative committee. So all these 5 people have been very much with me. And apart from that, the elite advisory board that we've got, I've got in every single person, 80 to 90% of the people have been brought in by me, and I've ensured that they are there with me. Either they write articles, either they are called as a chief guest in the Tata Ethics Seminar, or should I say the annual ethics seminar, which was supported primarily by the Tatas, which was there on 4th of February, which you'll see in the newsletter, saw the practically 90% of the people were ours in the panel and as moderators. So they were all my advisory board members. And then, of course, we had Mr. Dilip Piramal, who has now also become our advisory board member, and who I thank profusely will be joining us very shortly for naming of the conference room. It's called the Dilip Piramal Conference Room, for which he gave us a generous amount of money. So this is something which we have tried to pursue at CFBP. We've tried to ensure that the heavyweights, the people who impact lives, the people who matter, join us, because those are the people that I learn from. Those are the people. This president would have been nothing, would have achieved nothing, but for the support of the team, but for the stature of not only of the founders and the past presidents, but also of the advisory board members that I have, and my lovely executive committee team invitee group which I have with me. 3-4 of them are present here. Mr. Ashok Bansali is right here. He's one of our senior members. Mr. Bal Barve is here. Asha Idnani is here. Mr. Pramod Shah is here. We have in invitees, we have Yatri Thakkar, who's Dr. Yatri Thakkar, who's homeopath here. Then my wife, executive committee member, and Nitisha Chopra also, who's here. She's a part of the Financial Times organization. So we've got a great mix of varied people, and I encourage all of you to take the newsletter from here to see if you all want to join the organization in some form or the other. And please feel free to give me a call, because this is a very, very vibrant group. We have got 2 chat groups. One is the advisory board and one is the executive committee. And we work extremely hard, and there is not a single day which goes by without any announcement or without anything on the chat group. There is always murmur. There is always activity. And I encourage people to tell them about their own achievements also, so that they don't feel that they are only here for CFBP. They are here to even advance their goals, because that's the reason why people join. They want to see to it that there is an organization which supports their dreams, and which ensures that they realize their dreams. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that we, apart from the Jamnalal Bajaj Awards, the annual ethics seminar primarily supported by the Tatas, we have the film festival. And along with that, we have a Shaina NC, who's our advisory board member, fashion show. So let me get that straight. The fashion show is not to have exquisite models walking the ramp. We have women achievers, Thereby we support women empowerment of all age, shape, sizes, and achievement walking that ramp. So we've got some of the top women walking the ramp so that to promote women empowerment. And why women empowerment? We have included in our memorandum and articles of association. I have completely revamped that along with the support of my entire team so as to reflect women empowerment and also any other social cause tomorrow that a future president or that the team may find important in the future. And why women empowerment? The reason is because, and you will see most of my invitee people are women. And why so? Because when I joined the organization, it was heavily skewed in favor of men. And the reason why I said is you can't have 50% of the population not being part of one of the top organizations. So why women empowerment? Because CFBP, Council for Fair Business Practices, would be an absolute sham, an oxymoron, if we did not promote women empowerment, who have been the recipient of the grossest unfair practices. So it was an absolute bogus organization, in my opinion, if we do not have women at the forefront of some of the things. And, it's extremely important to ensure that they also get to achieve their dreams, realize their goals, pitch their own smallest ideas, and then maybe we can try to bring them out and give them fruition. So these 3-4 things. And the film festival is of course something where we invite entries pan-India on slogan writing, on paintings, and also on short stories, rather short films, covering 3-4 topics, which is fair business practices, cybercrime awareness, Mera Haq, Mera Rights, and all of those things. And then there is a jury that sits and it selects winners. And the women empowerment has resulted in not only getting very, very women of high stature on an executive committee team, but has also resulted in a very famous actress, filmmaker, who makes poignant social films, the latest being Zvigato of hers, Nandita Das. She's also on our advisory board. So every single step that we have taken is to ensure that we have people who impact. CFBP is going pan-India. We've tried to get in people from different parts of the country. And I believe that this is something which we will continue to have, which we will continue to adopt. And I'm very happy, once again, I encourage you to look at the Titans for Fair Business Practices, which is published by the Times Group, and which was written by Vikesh Walia, our advisory board member. It felicitates some of the Titans of Fair Business Practices, and it is one of the best books that you all can have. I encourage all the winners to pick up one copy, complimentary, and the people who are not the winners and who are here as an audience, they will have to pay for it. And also take the newsletter, which is absolutely complimentary, so that you all can read about it. I would like to end my speech with one of the sayings of Isaac Newton. People, really, I'm very flattered actually, and who doesn't like praises? I usually get a lot of praises on my chat groups and all of those things, and my team praises me and says that you've achieved a lot in your, for CFBP and all of those things. But I believe that I can only quote Sir Isaac Newton, that if at all I have been able to see this far, is because I have stood on the shoulders of the giants. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Swapnil, for that energetic delivery and giving a great insight into what CFBP carries out as its various activities throughout the year. It's my pleasure to invite the chairperson of the jury of the awards committee, Justice B.N. Sri Krishna, to give his address to the audience.
Thank you. Mr. Kothari, the president of the institution, Mr. Mistry, the chief justice of today, and all my friends on the dais, distinguished members of the audience. Swapnil is known to make big speeches in which he painted in glowing terms what the value of this institution is. He also waved in front of you the booklet, which gives a lot of information. Ladies and gentlemen, the best certificate that I have had for this, let me tell you, it is not written anywhere here, but it came to me from no less a person than a past president, Abdul Kalam Azad. Now, I don't think there is anybody in this audience who hasn't the greatest respect for that individual who adorned the presidency of this country and who was known to be a man of great principles and great honesty and sincerity of purpose. He told me a very interesting thing. Actually, he was invited to be the chief guest about 4 or 5 years ago. I remember I was present along with him, sitting next to him. And he told me something interesting which either Swapnil doesn't know, or at any rate, none of you would know it. He said that when he was invited to come as a chief guest, he saw something in some business association. He said, no, I will not come. Twice they were attempts made to invite him. He refused it. Third time, he said, I saw the invitation and it said Council for Fair Business Practice. And then I saw your name. Then I said, I must go. I called my secretary and said, immediately accept that. Now, I'm not saying that because it's a commendation to me. I'm saying that the fact that it was fair business practice is the thing that moved him. I have been concerned with at least a large number of the names that Swapnil reeled off from the titans of the industry in my long career as a lawyer. I know how difficult it is for a business person to establish credibility, because somehow in this country, from the beginning, we have been told, in fact, there is a saying in Sanskrit, Vyaparo Droha Chintanam. So the people who are in business are supposed to be crooks. Now, unfortunately, that there can be persons who are not crooks in business is something that had to be driven home by people who had exemplary lives, both in their personal lives as well as in business lives. And one of the institutions which has really done exemplary work in this behalf is the CFBP. Ladies and gentlemen, nothing more except that I have to share that I don't know whether this is 5th, 6th, 7th, I don't know how many years I have been the chairperson of the jury. In the jury, the job is basically done at the ground level of selecting a large number of applicants for different categories. And then finally, when it comes to the final round, I find it very difficult. As they say in English literature, the difference is between Tweedledum and Tweedledee. There's very little to differentiate between who should be the first rank and who should be the second rank. Well, we have traversed that year after year, and we find that the gap between the best and the next best is narrowing and narrowing and narrowing. But we try to do all that we can. We try to encourage the ideals of this institution. We try to propagate the ideals of this institution. And we hope that we will have your cooperation in all our efforts. Thank you very much.
This is the most opportune time to request my colleagues to give a token of our appreciation, just a bouquet of flowers to our chief guest, Mr. Keki Mistry, and also to chairperson of our jury, Nikitsha and Payal. Will you please step forward and do the... Yes, Yachri, please. Mr. Shekhar. Mickey Mehta. Yeah, Asha, please step forward and... Thank you, ladies. So let us start the main agenda of the evening, which is the handing over of the awards to the winners of this 35th year of CFBP Jamnalal Bajaj Uchit Vyavhar Puraskar for Fair Business Practice. One of the terms that has become very popular in the last couple of years is ESG, right? So environment, social and governance. It must capture your imagination that about 57 years ago, an organization was set up by the industrialists in this country, which was around the same ethics and same values that we are trying to now bring forward in conducting businesses efficiently, effectively, transparently. And that was CFBP. So the vision of all the industrialists who put together CFBP is far greater in its contribution than what we see these days of the modern businesses in the form of ESG. It was also important to recognize that this entire concept of fair business practice was brought about when the businesses were inefficient, ineffective, very opaque, license raj, no consumer rights, and all the other ills that surrounded the business environment and the business communities. It is with deepest respect, therefore, that the 35th award that we are giving today is of that much value and that much significance. And it is with great honor that we are looking to recognize and applaud the efforts of businesses, both in manufacturing and services, who are exemplary in terms of the way they are conducting their businesses. Through various applications that we receive and the in-person sessions that we conduct, we are trying to really cull out the gems from the industries and from the applicants that we receive year after year. Some of the winners this evening are actually multiple year winners. And one of the first questions that we ask them is, what is it that you have done from the last time that you received the winner's trophy? 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 7 years ago. And it is very heartening for all of us who are a part of this organization to see that these organizations and firms are pushing themselves every day, bit by bit, in ways and manner that is bringing out their philosophy, which resonates with the core values of CFBP, the council. There are various categories of awards that we announce every year. There is both large for manufacturing and services, SME for manufacturing, and I will now begin by reading out the names of the winners for the large manufacturing enterprises, and the trophy award goes to JSW Steel Coated Products Limited. And today we have with us Mr. Praveen Mabyan, who's the AVP Operations of JSW Steel Coated Products with his team to come and accept the award. I must also mention that JSW Steel this year, in a very odd manner, was pitted against JSW Steel Limited, their parent company. And while the parent company is the flag bearer of all the good that happens in that banner, but we found that this team is doing much more than what I think the parent is also doing. So congratulations to all of you, and please may I request the Chief Guest and Justice and Swapnil to step forward. Mr. Bajaj, please step forward so that we can hand over the trophy to the team from JSW Steel Coated. as Justice Bayan Sri Krishna was telling you in his address, sometimes it just becomes too difficult for us to find one winner. Because although we try to evaluate applications and try to give them numerical scores, but it is so much a subjective evaluation of all that the companies are doing. So we have a joint winner this year under the same category of manufacturing enterprises large. And the second trophy goes to the team from Hindustan Copper Limited. And we have with us the CMD, Mr. Arun Kumar Shukla from Hindustan Copper Limited, to receive the trophy from the chief guest and our panel of jury. The certificate of merit in this particular category, and it is a subjective evaluation, as I said earlier, actually goes to the energy supplier of this country, ONGC, Oil and Natural Gas Corporation Limited. And we have with us today Mr. S.C. Tripathi, who's the Chief General Manager, and Ms. Anuja Dubey Sinha and Abhinav Tripathi to receive the certificate merit for ONGC. Anand, Mr. Shekhar Bajaj, Mickey, please step forward. ONGC, as we all know, is a conglomerate in its own right. And Mr. Tripathi, you must appreciate that while there is no other parameter that we could have found wrong in ONGC, it is just that we are waiting for ONGC to move more and more aggressively towards the green energy. And the day it happens, I'm sure you will be a winner. Under manufacturing enterprises SME, we have Gargi Huttons Albertus Private Limited, which is a part of a German multinational Gargi. And we have with us today Gurinder Singh, who's the CFO of the company, with his team to receive the trophy. We now move to the services sector, and we have service enterprises large. Even in this category, we have two winners, trophy winners. We have Blue Dart Express Limited, and that is represented by Mr. Tushar Gunderia, and he's here with his colleagues. Mr. Tushar, please step forward. The joint winner for the trophy for Service Enterprises Large is ECGC Limited, and Mr. Sunil Joshi, the Executive Director of the company, is here to receive the trophy. The next two trophy winners, they are categorized as Service Enterprises SME, but their efforts are always tall. Both of them are hospitals, and the jury was really, spending a few minutes in recognizing as to who is doing what and better. So finally, we have two winners: Breach Candy Hospital Trust, and Mr. Santhanam, who is the CEO, is here from Breach Candy. And the other winner, the hospital, is Godrej Memorial Hospital. Lieutenant Colonel L.C. Verma is here to receive the trophy. the last two categories. We're down to the last two categories. The next one is Trade and Distribution SME, and the trophy goes to Mumbai Kamgar Madhyavarti Grahak Sehkari Sanstha Maryadit, Mr. Anil Govindji Gangar, who's the Vice Chairman of this institution, is here to receive the trophy award. The last category is the Charitable Association, and this year the trophy winner is Gem and Jewelry National Relief Foundation. Mr. Sanjay Kothari, who's the chairman of the foundation, is here to receive the trophy award. Okay, congratulations once again, all the trophy winners and the certificate of merit winners. We would like now to invite the winners one by one to give their response for having received the 35th CFBP Jamnalal Bajaj Uchit Vyavhar Puraskar Award. Let's start with Mr. Praveen Mabian, who's the AVP Operations of JSW Steel Coated Products Limited, to give your response. Come. You can do it in 1 or 2 minutes. Come.
I was not told that I have to speak, but it's a great privilege for us to win this award. Actually, actually we won in 2017 also. So that was the first question asked by him, why again you have come, like after 6 years. So I told we have done a lot of things, a lot of improvements in last 6 years, and we want to show that. So that is there, and thank you very much for giving this opportunity. Thank you.
Mr. Shukla, Arun Kumar Shukla, the CMD of Hindustan Copper Limited, please come forward to give your response.
Thank you very much, sir. This recognition will inspire Hindustan Copper Limited for upholding the highest ethical practices in our company. And my feeling is that we go for honesty is the best policy motto, and we'll continue with that. Our customers will be totally satisfied, and by this, I think that my team will certainly go to gain this trophy next time also. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Shukla. May I request Mr. S.C. Tripathi, the CGM of ONGC, to give his response.
Good evening to all. It is my privilege on behalf of Chairman and CEO of ONGC. I thank all jury and council for recognizing this certificate for better business practices. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Tripathi. Mr. Gurinder Singh, CFO of Gargi Huttons, please give your reaction.
Hi, good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you very much. My sincere thanks and the gratitude to the entire jury for giving us this platform and the recognition to showcase our best practices and selecting for that as well. I also take an opportunity from this floor because every success can't be measured without a successful team. We have a team here who also participated, who did this entire thing to make us this proud moment today where we are standing and presenting or taking the award for the recognition. It's a great honor standing and giving a few words about it. I always get fascinated and always get motivated with all the new things and all the stories, what you heard about it. It's a great honor sitting in the conference room, and I was listening to Mr. Bajaj. He was sharing the story about the foundation of this whole organization when it started. So somebody thought about it in 1966, and from that small seed it becomes a big tree today. So it's a great honor for us. It's a responsibility for all of us that we join this tree, and then we are taking this legacy forward for making sure that we follow this best practices award. So once again, thank you very much for this Jamnalal Bajaj Uchit Vyavhar Puraskar for selecting us for this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gurinder. May I request Mr. Tushar Gundaria, who's the head legal and compliance of Blue Dart Express Limited, to share his response with the audience and us.
Thank you very much, Council for Fair Business Practices. Thank you very much, Honorable Jury. It's a great privilege and honor to get this eminent award. And on behalf of my organization and entire senior management team, I would like to thank the jury. And this will definitely inspire us to do much better in the years to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tushar. Mr. Sunil Joshi, Executive Director of ECGC Limited, please share your response.
Good evening to everybody. First of all, I'm very grateful to the council and also to the jury for selecting us for this award. I'm also happy to inform you that we are winning this award for the second time. We won it in 2018. We are a 65-year-old organization, and we are a government company, of course, but our practices are very transparent, very open, and we lay a lot of emphasis on employee motivation, customer satisfaction. When we won the award in 2018, we felt that our responsibility had increased, and we continued to refine our processes, and the result is that this year also we could win the award. I'm sure this will motivate us further to improve our services and contribute to nation building. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. May I invite the CEO, Mr. N. Santhanam of Breach Candy Hospital Trust, to give his response.
Good evening. On behalf of my colleagues who are present here and on behalf of my entire hospital, we would like to thank the council as well as the jury. Actually, this is the first year we have won this award, and with all humility, if I were to say, we are a low-profile, high-impact hospital. Strongly believe in transparency, because in a hospital environment, we need to win the confidence of the patients. We always believe that our patients are the best ambassadors, and the hospital's reputation goes by the word of mouth, by one patient to the other. But when this council thing came in, I mean, this was really, really a good thing, because since 1966, this has been there for so many years, encouraging good practices, fair practices in the industry as well as in profession. So I am indeed thankful to you. We are extremely thankful to you, all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Santanam. I agree with one thing that you said, high impact, but I disagree with you about one thing, that you are low profile. Everyone in South Bombay knows Bridge Candy.
And the board that Bridge Candy has got, the board of trustees.
Okay, congratulations again. Can I request Lieutenant Colonel L.C. Verma to step forward and give his reaction on behalf of Godrej Memorial Hospital.
So we are really low profile. Good evening, the chief guest, Mr. Keki Mistry, award committee chairman, Justice B.N. Sri Krishna, Mr. Bajaj, the office bearers, and ladies and gentlemen. First of all, on behalf of my entire team, if you are present here and if you are watching us online, I place on the highest record my sincere thanks to the jury and the members who selected us for this coveted award. This is really overwhelming. We competed first time and we got it. That shows, or that stamps on our ethical and fair business practices. As I mentioned, I started saying that we have kept us low profile. That does not mean we have kept our standards low profile. We have been into the healthcare industry since 2004, and we were among the first to be accredited by NABH and NABL in 2008-2009. That shows our highest ethical and quality standards. Being conferred with this award will really motivate us, and will keep doing and keep showcasing how and in what way affordable and available healthcare can be rolled out for one and all. Thank you again. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Congratulations, Colonel Verma. May I request Mr. Anil Govindji Gangar, who's the Vice Chairman of Mumbai Kamgar Madhyavarti Grahak Sahakari Sanstha Maryadit. Apna Bazaar. Apna Bazaar. Everybody knows Apna Bazaar.
आज के समारोह के अध्यक्ष चीफ गेस्ट केकी मिस्त्री जी, आज के जो हम लोग को अवार्ड देने के लिए जो चीफ जूरी मेंबर थे, डॉक्टर जस्टिस श्री कृष्णा सर, बजाज सर, कोठारी जी, विनीत जी, पटवर्धन जी और डॉक्टर मिकी मेहता जी, मुझे आज बहुत खुशी हो रही है कि अपना बाज़ार को आज 4th टाइम CFBP की तरफ से अवार्ड दिया जा रहा है। अपना बाज़ार का काम ही ऐसा है, एथिकल प्रैक्टिसेस में फ्रॉम लास्ट 75 ईयर्स से हम लोग काम कर रहे हैं। कोऑपरेटिव मूवमेंट है, कोऑपरेटिव मूवमेंट में सर रियल बिजनेस में काम करना, ग्राहक संस्था को चलाना बहुत डिफ़िकल्ट है। फिर भी नीडी और मिडिल क्लास फैमिलीज़ को बॉम्बे में ऑल कंज्यूमर्स लेवल पे हमारे जो पास्ट डिग्निटरीज थे सभी ने बहुत अच्छा काम किया। जब गवर्नमेंट को ज़रूरत पड़ी है, महाराष्ट्र सरकार को या सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट को, तो अपना बाज़ार के सब स्टोर्स, जब बॉम्ब ब्लास्ट हुआ था 93-94 में, या कोरोना अभी लास्ट 2 इयर्स बैक हमने फेस किया, लॉकडाउन हुआ उसके पहले दिन से ही 20th मार्च 2020, उस दिन से ही हमारे सभी आउटलेट हमने स्टार्ट करके रखे थे। हमारे सभी स्टाफ का रेसिडेंस हमने मेंटेन किया था, और डे 1 से एक भी दिन ऐसा बंद नहीं हुआ हमारा स्टोर, और सप्लाई चेन प्रॉपरली हमने मेंटेन की। तो सर हम 75th ईयर एंजॉय कर रहे हैं। जैसा पास्ट में एक मेरे कलीग ने पूछा कि 19th को आपको अवार्ड मिला, फिर आपको वापस क्यों चाहिए, तो मुझे भी वही क्वेश्चन किया गया सर आपकी तरफ से कि 2016 में आपको अवार्ड मिला, फिर आपको क्यों मिलना चाहिए। तो मैंने सर जूरी मेंबर्स सबको रिक्वेस्ट की कि आज हम 75th ईयर एंजॉय कर रहे हैं, हमारा अमृत महोत्सवी वर्ष है, अगर हमको एथिकल प्रैक्टिसेस हम जो जितने भी है, मतलब कंज्यूमर लेवल पे है, हमारे स्टेक होल्डर लेवल पे है, हमारे एम्प्लॉय लेवल पे है, हम सब मेंटेन करते हैं। हमारे एम्प्लॉयज़ की बात करेंगे तो उनका टिल डेट जितना भी ग्रेच्युटी बनता है उसको हम ग्रेच्युटी LIC इन्वेस्टमेंट फंड में हम रिजर्व करके रखे, इन्वेस्ट करके रखे, उससे भी आगे उनका जो लिव एनकेसमेंट प्रिविलेज लिव होता है उसका भी हमने इन्वेस्टमेंट अभी से करके रखा है। मतलब एम्प्लॉय लेवल पे इतना काम करते हैं और कंज्युमर लेवल पे अशी भेसळ अशी चालाकी पटवर्धन साहेब आपण ते ग्राहकांना अवेअरनेस देतो की कुठल्या वस्तूमध्ये भेसळ आणि कुठली चांगली है, वो भी अवेयरनेस प्रोग्राम्स हम लेते हैं। तो इसके लिए हम हकदार बनते हैं और जूरी मेंबर्स ने हमको सिलेक्ट किया और हमें मेरे अपना बाजार को ट्रॉफी दी। मैं बहुत बहुत आभारी हूँ अभी सबका, और फिर वापस हम जब भी अप्लाई करें हमको ट्रॉफी मिलना चाहिए, हम हकदार हैं उसके। थैंक यू।
फोर्थ के
और
बाद
एक लास्ट बात, इतने जितने भी CFBP के कोठारी सर ने बोला उनकी टीम जो है एग्जीक्यूटिव कमेटी और एडवाइजरी बोर्ड, उन सब के लिए हम सब ने जय हो बोलना चाहिए। जय हो CFBP के लिए, जय हो। थैंक यू।
Excellent. Thank you, Anilji. Thank you very much. Mr. Sanjay Kothari, the chairman of Gem and Jewelry National Relief Foundation, please step forward to give your response.
Fortunately, I have been given a minute more or 2-3 minutes. Mr. Bajaj told me that what we have been doing, I need to explain you also. Mr. Keki Mistry, chief guest of today, Shri Justice Shri Krishna, members of the CFBP, President, Vice President, Awards Committee Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. It is a matter of pride, privilege and pleasure to receive this prestigious award. Personally, I had heard of Jamnalal Bajaj award since long, but I never knew that once I'll be a recipient on behalf of the gem and jewelry industry. And this is the first time we have applied. We were not aware that this type of awards are given to the charitable organization. It was Ashok Bansali, who is a member of the gem and jewelry industry. He insisted that you apply, and we'll see that probably you might get if you are lucky enough for the work you have done. Sir, Gem and Jewelry National Relief Foundation is a collective effort of the gem and jewelry industry. Individually, gem and jewelry industry companies are spending huge amount of money for the betterment of the people or to the needy and the downtrodden people. But during Kargil war, we thought that let us have a foundation which we collect money from the industry and spend so that larger amount can be spent and a collective name of the industry can be highlighted. And during Kargil war, whether it was earthquake or the calamities, Orissa cyclone or XYZ, whatever is happening, or during COVID, all of us combined together, got together and saw that whatever effort we can make, we can try to see that the people are benefited to a great extent. And we were after Tata's, the second organization wherein Government of India gave us the freedom to spend on our own during Kutch earthquake. Otherwise, every penny, every organization was supposed to give the money to the Chief Minister Relief Fund or the Prime Minister Relief Fund. We never give any money to any of these funds, Chief Minister or Prime Minister Relief Funds. We spend everything on our own, either joining hands with the NGOs who are working in those areas, or on our own, our people go there and try to work. For example, I'll give you 2 examples which now I'm planning to do are that we have built a hostel for the army personnel, the students of army in Santa Cruz. 2 floors have been built up and we are trying to extend it by 1 or 2 floors more. That is the next project.
And few days back, even the government of Maharashtra told us that you take the project of Anganwadi. So we are already taken the project of Anganwadi. There are thousands of Anganwadis here. Wherever we can support them in whichever manner, we are trying to do that. By providing them toys, or if we can create a really good atmosphere for them, we try to do that. So these are the two projects already in lineup for next year, and it will be completed this year, 2023 for sure. Mr. Kothari, I would like to emphasize one more thing, that you have been doing this great service by giving awards and doing a lot of activities, but I assure you that if any charitable activity is being undertaken by your organization, feel free, we will support it fully. Thank you so much.
So it was worth, I must tell you, friends, before Vineet invites Keki on the dais, Gem and Jewelry Foundation, we normally see a lot of charitable institutions, and I've been seeing this since quite a few years. But the kind of work that they have done, and thank you, Mr. Bansali, for suggesting them. We would have never known about them, but the kind of work that they are doing, it's amazing. I mean, it's one of the best profiles that I have seen. I mean, let me tell you that. So thank you, Mr. Kothari, from one Kothari to the other. Thank you.
I now request Mr. Shekhar Bajaj to come forward and introduce our chief guest, Mr. Keki Mistry.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm happy to introduce and welcome someone we all respect and know as Keki Mistry, Vice Chairman and Chief Executive Officer, HDFC Ltd. I think my job has been made very easy. I can say two words, Keki Mistry, and the introduction is over, and I can sit down. But you know, then they'll say you're not doing a good job. And therefore I have to go a little ahead. But I'll still keep it short, because otherwise there'll be no his speech and there will be no further lectures. And I think we'll miss out our dinner, so I'm not interested. So I will keep it limited, but the limited also is going to be long enough. Keki began his career as a chartered accountant in the A.F. Ferguson and Company. He joined HDFC in 1981, 41 years. Luckily, I've been in Bajaj Electrics for 43 years, so I'm a little senior to you. HDFC is a name that has been associated with Indian housing sector as a pioneer in housing mortgage. The founder, Mr. H.T. Parekh, had a vision that enabled HDFC to grow from a humble beginning to one of the biggest players in the housing finance industry. Today, Deepak Parekh is the chairman of HDFC, who's continued to lead innovation in his multinational firm. But the person behind it always is a person who's active and day-to-day, and that is Mr. Keki Mistry. Now let me tell you something very interesting. He has had several roles and responsibility prior to being included into the board as an executive director in 1993 and appointed managing director in 2000, vice chairman and managing director in 2007, and then vice chairman and chief executive officer from January 1st, 2010. Keki is responsible for the overall functioning of the corporation. He has played a critical role in the successful transformation of HDFC into India's leading financial services conglomerate by facilitating the formation of companies including HDFC Bank Limited, which with having chosen Aditya Puri to be there. And as you are all aware that HDFC Bank market cap is bigger than HDFC. So the baby has turned out to be more effective than the father, thanks to the good choosing of the right person. Then HDFC Asset Management Company Limited, HDFC Life Insurance Company Limited, and HDFC Ergo General Insurance Limited. You must be aware that HDFC company is doing a reverse merger with HDFC Bank. So, in spite of him being there, that shows his impartiality and good for the organization, because there will be no HDFC Limited after a few years. But that's what the whole thing is all about. When you're working for an organization, you have to see what is going to be useful for the organization, and that's where Keki plays a role. Now, as I mentioned that, if I start reading all the recognition that he has received, I think we'll go too long. So therefore, I'll just tell you a few important aspects. He has received the Lifetime Award in 2020-21 at the Financial Express Best Banks Awards. Hall of Fame Award by the ICAI in 2022 for exemplary contribution and professional excellence. Best Banker of the Year in 2011 by Financial Express. The Best CEO of Financial Services Large Companies 2014 Award by Business Today magazine, and many more. We are indeed privileged to have Keki as our chief guest today. Successful men achieve their greatness by sheer dint of their knowledge, hard work, and most importantly, looking at the problems and circumstances with clarity and simplicity. It is also a privilege at CFBP that he has accepted to be our advisory board member. Thank you very much. In Keki's own words, which I came across in an article, he says, "Do not look for short-term solution, as there's no quick fixes." I totally agree that, and look forward to hearing some more such mantras today. Once again, I extend a huge welcome on behalf of CFBP. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for the introduction. Mr. Shekhar Bajaj, Justice Sri Krishnan, Swapnil Kothari, Mr. Patnagar, Mr. Patwardhan, Mickey Mehta, ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to all of you. It is both a pleasure and a privilege to be here at the 35th Jamnalal Bajaj Awards for Fair Business Practices. I would like to thank Swapnil for inviting me here today to speak to all of you. Let me first of all offer my heartiest congratulations to all the winners. The Council for Fair Business Practices must be commended for its efforts in providing a platform to a number of enterprises to enable them to showcase their best practices. Swapnil and his team's dynamic leadership has ensured that the Council for Fair Business Practices is continuing to play an important role in promoting ethical and fair business practices in India and creating a conducive environment for corporates to thrive. The founders of the Council were forward-thinking industrialists who clearly saw the imperative need for creating a voluntary, self-regulated body for fair practices in business and industry. Through its various initiatives over the years, the Council has created an enabling environment to promote fair business practices by organizing workshops, seminars, training programs for businesses and professionals, in addition to various other activities. The Council has been striving to protect consumer rights. It has provided a mechanism for businesses and consumers to resolve disputes. To my mind, fair practices are about creating business confidence. It is about building bridges between the providers of goods and services, the consumers of those goods and services, and the stakeholders. What keeps the wheel of business confidence moving is trust, transparency, fairness, and accountability. Being a consumption-driven economy, it is extremely important for us in India to exercise all our levers to ensure that companies keep striving to to raise the bar on fair business practices. Companies that voluntarily adopt good business practices are seen as setting the benchmark for others to emulate. Let me now come a little bit to the economy. I truly believe that there is no better place than to be today in the world than to be in India. I continue to be extremely optimistic about the future of our economy. In fact, India's economic rebound has surpassed global expectations, as it was much better able to manage its economy against the pandemic due to a confluence of factors such as sound government policies, strong macroeconomic fundamentals, inherent demand, an extremely successful vaccination drive, timely regulatory interventions, and continued reforms which has ensured India's long-term growth. I talk to international investors regularly, almost 3 to 4 meetings literally per day, and during my interaction with them, the feedback about India is extremely positive. Under the current leadership, the image of India has improved by leaps and bounds. A major part of this positive image stems from the efforts being made to improve the business environment, create greater transparency, and ensure a stable and fair regulatory regime. India as an emerging market clearly stands out from the others. Foreign investors are acknowledging India's growth prospects and are appreciating the policy measures that are being taken to take India forward. Some of the key ongoing measures are as follows. 1 is improving the day-to-day lives of people. 2 is trust on digitization across all sectors of the economy, especially the financial sector. 3 is capitalizing on geopolitically shifted gears, wherein India can become a preferred destination in the supply chain of major global companies. There are several important indications which reflect India's strength in the global economy. There is no other economy in the world today that currently has the capacity to absorb the scale of investments that India can absorb or has the great growth potential that India offers. I would like to highlight just some of these positives. Firstly, India has favorable demographics. India accounts for 17% of the world's population, or 1 out of every 6 person in the world is an Indian. More importantly, 66% of this population is under the age of 35 years. Combine India and China together, and that is 37% of the world's population. India's middle class is estimated to rise from 250 million individuals currently to 800 million by 2030. India is a domestic consumption-based economy. Private consumption forms 60% of the economy. According to a report by Morgan Stanley, India will become the 3rd largest economy by 2030. It is estimated that the number of households with incomes in excess of 30 lakh rupees per annum will rise 5-fold to 25 million by 2031. Further, the per capita income in India is expected to rise from US $2,300 currently to as much as US $5,200 by 2031. India is poised to become the 3rd largest consumer market behind US and China. Consumer spending in India is expected to grow from US $1.5 trillion at present to nearly US $6 trillion by 2030. There is strong growth in high-frequency indicators such as e-way bills, railway freight, highway tolls, highway toll collections, and GST collections. For instance, GST collections grew by 12% year-on-year to rupees 1.87 trillion in April 2023. GST collections now have been over rupees 1.4 trillion for 14 consecutive months and over rupees 1 trillion for 22 consecutive months. Private consumption is holding up as well. There has been a sharp increase in contact-based services such as civil aviation and hospitality. Bank credit in India has picked up over the past year and has remained in double digit ever since April 2022. In April 2023, which is last month, the overall bank credit grew by 15.9% compared to 11.2% in the same period in the previous year. Retail credit growth was even stronger, with personal loans growing by 20.6%, consumer loans growing by 35.1%, and housing loans by 15%. The banking system has been extremely resilient. Since March of 2021, there has been a continuous and steady decline in the level of non-performing loans of banks. NPAs have declined from 7.3% in March 2021 to 4.4% in December 2022. The balance sheets of the corporate sector have significantly strengthened since the outbreak of the pandemic. The RBI is being acknowledged globally, and this is something I've heard not from one or two, but from multiple investors. The RBI is being lauded for its extremely effective supervision of the Indian financial sector and for guiding economic growth without the high inflation that the Western countries are currently facing. India's foreign exchange reserves are at a very comfortable level of US dollars 596 billion as of early May 2023, which covers about 10 months of imports. India is also the fifth largest holder of reserves, fifth largest globally, after China, Japan, Switzerland, and Russia. So we are more than UK, more than Germany, more than the US. Financial penetration in India is extremely low, which implies a huge potential for growth. For example, the mortgage to GDP ratio in India is 11%, compared to between 20 and 30% in most Asian countries, 69% in the UK and 52% in US. In India, we are at 11% by comparison. Insurance penetration in India currently stands at 4.2% of GDP. The global average is 7% of GDP. Similarly, India's mutual fund penetration is only 16% of GDP, compared to 149% in the US and 75% in the UK. This means that with a population of 1.4 billion people, barely over 2%, just 2% invest in mutual funds and equities. So the point I'm making is that the scope to grow in the financial sector in India is huge, it's enormous. The tailwind is so enormous that I honestly believe for the next 3-4 decades, you can continuously see strong growth. Flagship government programs such as the JAM Treaty, which is Jan Dhan Yojana, Aadhaar and mobile technology, have helped in implementing direct benefit transfers on a massive scale. And lastly, India is expected to be a $1 trillion digital economy by financial year 2027. This means that 1/5 of the economy at that point of time will be digital. I do believe that India's pace of reforms will continue. Sound regulatory policies and the implementation of structural reforms are helping India attain sustainable long-term economic growth. Now let me come to the role of consumers. It is obvious that at the heart of India's remarkable growth story are the Indian consumers. They have emerged as a driving force behind India's economic growth. Indian consumers are becoming increasingly aspirational and discerning in their choices. Today, consumers are far more aware of their rights and they have become extremely demanding for what they believe is right. Consumers today, especially the younger generation, are fully aware of the impact that their purchases have on suppliers and service providers, and they are increasingly demanding that companies operate in a responsible manner. Companies that prioritize ethical business practices are therefore more likely to attract and retain customers, build customer loyalty, build brand loyalty, and ultimately achieve long-term success. Increased competition and choice means that customers can easily take their business elsewhere if they are dissatisfied. This has automatically raised the bar for customer service. The advent of technology has also meant that customers now have access to a lot of information at their fingertips. Social media has given disgruntled customers a platform to air their grievances at virtually the click of a button. Thus, managing customer expectation, managing consumer expectation, and anticipating customer trends and behavioral patterns is an extremely critical function in almost every organization. At the same time, it is equally important to recognize that many Indian consumers still remain victims of unscrupulous and exploitative practices which could manifest in various forms such as mis-selling products, especially financial products, or it could be in the form of poor quality products or through deceptive advertising. Regulators such as the Reserve Bank, the IRDA and SEBI, to my mind, are doing an extraordinarily laudable job, an extremely good job in curtailing a lot of these bad practices. For instance, due to IRDA's effective supervision and engaging in various consumer awareness programs, the incidence of mis-selling has significantly reduced over the years. Let me come to the last topic, which is on governance. Responsible companies have to ensure that they not only follow fair business practices themselves, but they should also ensure that the entire supply chain follows the same benchmarks. According to an article published by the Harvard Business Review in 2020, successful companies have long understood the importance of recognizing customers as a form of asset, as a real asset. Those companies prefer to build and sustain customer loyalty rather than pursue short-term profits and quarterly targets. They closely monitor qualitative measures that indicate customer satisfaction scores to gauge customer loyalty. For fair business practices to be truly effective, I believe that organizations need to adhere to 9 principles, which are as follows. 1 is to have strong business ethics. 2 is to focus on compliance and reputational risks. 3rd is to strengthen the process of internal control and internal financial control in particular. 4th is to have a very stringent code of conduct which is effectively monitored all the time. 5 is having strong risk management practices. 6th is having constant communication with the staff to explain the ethos, the ethics that the organization would like to follow. 7 is an effective whistleblower program. 8 is strong corporate governance practices. And 9th, and importantly and certainly not the least, is to have a strong independent board. Importantly, there is recognition in India that companies committed to good governance have a distinct competitive advantage along with enhanced reputation and investor trust. There are several examples of leading Indian corporate houses that have stood the test of time by remaining uncompromising on their ethics and values. They have preserved a culture of transparency and accountability, thus making a positive impact on society. These organizations have focused on prudence and long-term growth irrespective of economic cycles. Global investors are willing to pay a huge premium, and I see this all the time, to companies where they perceive that governance practices are strong. As a result, the majority of Indian companies are aware that robust governance has a premium, and if their policies and practices fail to meet high ethical standards, they will be exposed to serious reputational risks and business failure. Let me conclude by saying that ultimately what drives long-term sustainable growth within organizations is always the culture, the values, and the ethics it follows. If value systems are in place, fair business practices become the very mantra of the organization. Let me once again compliment the winners and thank the Council for Fair Business Practices for inviting me to speak to all of you today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mistry, for that very inspiring delivery. Can I have my colleague, Keki Mehta, say a few words before we move on to the last item, which is the vote of thanks? Keki, please come.
You know, since Mr. Keki Mistry gave great statistics and data on India in particular, I'm very gung-ho about the wellness business too. And thank you very much, Swapnil ji, for inviting Mr. Keki Mistry, and he enlightened us on India's future. And with fair business practices, I'm sure Swapnil's leadership will take us to the world too. Thank you.
Thank you, Keki. I now invite our Honorary Treasurer, Anand Patwardhan, to give a vote of thanks.
The Chief Guest, Mr. Keki Mistry, the Guest of Honor, Justice Shri B.N. Shri Krishna, Swapnil Kothari, our President, Shekhar Bajaj ji, who has always been our light behind, Vineet Bhatnagar, who organizes such wonderful programs and puts in competition for all those who want to compete and get the award, Keki Mehta, my friend and wellness guru,
I must say that while the evening is coming to a close, we have already got the 9 points from the Guru, and that actually brings me to think he has given a push to what they say is Din Dugni Raat Chaugni Tarakki is what we are heading for. Thank you very much, sir, for really putting so much of statistics into us that we all know, yes, we have a target to achieve. And that's exactly what this particular program and function is, not only to put in some competition, but to give recognition to those who really win and come out, I would say those who are better from amongst the best. And that's exactly was a tough way we could actually sit and select these people and the winners today. So I must start by thanking all the winners here for not only winning, but also giving some competition for the next year, those who want to really join in and be winners of this wonderful trophy. This is a recognition of the good work that you have done, good work not only for your country, but the ethics that you bring in, that brings confidence, one of the main mantras that we have heard from our Guru today. I must thank the assessors who have taken so much pains in selecting and bringing the best from amongst those who had already applied. Those assessors are someone who have done a wonderful job, I must say. All those who have spared time to be here today, thanks all those who have been also a part of this wonderful function that has been organized, thanks to the IMC, the sound, audio, video that we heard, the caterers, and not to forget our own staff who is here. Most important of all, the sponsors who have actually been encouraging us to have such wonderful functions and to have such wonderful competition and awards. Godrej Consumer Products, Philips Capital, Bajaj Electrical, Central Bank of India, Punjab National Bank, Bank of Baroda, Sakti, and the diamond exporters are some of those who have really encouraged us, and I must thank all those sponsors who have brought us to this wonderful evening today. I think the winners today are the harbingers of fair business practices, and holding high ethics is not only what gets recognition, but also to be one amongst your own competitors. I think that's the spirit, and we have seen what we are heading for in the next 10 years. So be prepared for it. Thank you everybody for being here today, this evening, and please join us for the dinner hereafter. Thank you.
Please rise for the national anthem before we close the evening.
Can we have the group photograph, please, of all the CFBP people with the winners?
Janagana mana adhinayak jaya he Bharat bhagya vidhata Punjab Sindh Gujarat Maratha Dravid Utkal Banga Vindhya Himachal Yamuna Ganga Uchchal Jaladi Taranga Tav Shubh Naame Jage Tav Shubh Ashish Mage Gahe Tav Jaya Gatha Janagana Mangal Dayak Jaya He Bharat Bhagya Vidhata Jaya He Jaya He Jaya He Jaya 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 He
Jai.
I think all the winners should come. All the CFBP people can come here, and the winners can stand in the front and some behind, so we can have a group photograph. Please, all CFBP people and all the winners, if possible, we'll go for a group photograph. And by CFBP, I mean Executive Committee inviting members, all of them, please. I expect the taller ones, I mean, everybody to come up, please, from CFBP Executive Committee invitee team. I believe Yeah, Mr. Bansali can also come in the front, maybe, so that he can be seen, everybody can be seen. Okay, I think Asha ji, why don't you come in the front? I think people can come in the front. I think anybody come behind. I know. No, Ubar hai, na? It'll be standing. It'll be standing. Please. You all can leave the trophies in your hand if that's comfortable, or maybe on the chair. I don't know if that's comfortable, because those trophies are extremely heavy from what I know. I think Rekha, why don't you come in the front? Nikitsha, Rekha, Yatri. Yeah, all the ladies can stand together, I guess, yeah. Much better. That's a good idea. Then what we'll do is, after this group photograph, we'll only have a CFBP group photograph. Let the winners then, exit the stage. And only the CFBP people remain on stage, please, so that we can have a group photograph. All the ladies in the front, please. Yeah, I think we'll sit down. I think we'll sit down so the ladies can stand in the front, and then the photographs will come. Yeah. All can come back. Yeah, all the ladies can come back. Rekha, come back. Let's have the photo, then you can meet and greet people, no problem. एक फोटो घेऊन टाका आमचा 80-50-30 आणि दोघं द्या एकाच एन्व्हलप मध्ये दोघं टाका Yes, please. Yes, ready. Absolutely ready. Thank you. Madhuri, most welcome.
Yeah. We have made the arrangements for dinner on the terrace. So we're inviting everyone to come to the terrace and have dinner with us.
Yeah, he can have this.